What's going on, everybody, man? Happy Wednesday night, man. We back for the college football show, man. So hope y'all boys stay with me, stay tuned. Wherever you're watching this, you're watching this on X, make sure you like and you retweet if you're watching this on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know ideas and vids you want to see, topics you want to see me talk about. Let me know. Twitch, you know what to do, man. Make sure you guys, throw them raids, throw them bits, all that good stuff, man. And if you're watching on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Y'all boys know what to do. Like it, like it, like it, like it, like it, like it. You know what I'm saying? But we got a lot to talk about today, man. We got a lot to talk about today, man. So let's talk about it. We got some things we got to discuss. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to start with my Hurricanes. We're going to start with my Hurricanes first. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about On3 way too early All-American list, some offseason news, latest that's going on, so on and so forth, man. So let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty. Let's go ahead and start with the big moves yesterday. Now, I did not react to this one, but I did react to Darian Menson. We kind of knew with the settlement happening, y'all, and all that good stuff, that this was going to be a direct cause for Cooper Barkate, right? Now, Cooper Barkate balled out this past year. Remember, he came over from Harvard, 72 catches, 1,106 yards. I think he had 7 or 8 touchdowns this past season, right? Now, what he does for the Hurricanes is he gives them another weapon on the outside, right? When you look at a Malachi Tony, right, a guy that was getting a lot of doubles, trying to find different ways to get him the ball, you're going to get him another guy that he can throw the ball to, right? Now, when you break down what Cooper Barkate can do, right? He's that Swiss Army knife. He can do a little bit of everything. I'm not saying he's as explosive as a Malachi Tony, but he's going to be able to get those tough yards for you, those big plays down the field, right? And the biggest question for Miami going into next year, besides the quarterback position, which we'll talk about here in a second, was who's going to be wide receiver 2, right? They got 4-star Samorian Wingo who's coming in, right? They went and got Vandrius Jacobs from South Carolina. You know, Dalen Upshaw is supposed to take another step forward next year. Who's going to be wide receiver 2? Now you have a proven example in a Cooper Barkate that can come in, perform, play, and really be that guy for you. So excellent pickup, being able to convince him to come join Darian Mensah, and it makes our receiving corps a lot better, in my humble opinion. Definitely go lose some guys like the Keelan Marions of the world and CJ Daniels, but now we get a guy that's been proven, that showed he could play on this stage, and it's going to be massive, right? And then you bring somebody that has the chemistry of the quarterback, right? So that makes us a lot better going into 2026, man. So this is a great pickup for us. Wide receiver spot, at least bare minimum, we have a wide receiver 2 candidate for my Hurricanes. So I love that to go along with a very explosive, very good Malachi Tony, who ranked number 1 in catches this past year. All right. Now, the big one, the granddaddy of them all that I talked about on my channel when I reacted last night, Darian Mensah. Yes, this is massive, man. All right. This is massive. This is big for us. Now, I know what y'all going to say. Najeh, you shouldn't be this excited. This is tampering. Like, I'm with y'all. We talked about that with Ole Miss, and obviously the delay situation with them in Clemson, and obviously head coach Dabo Swinney called it out. And everybody, some people says, well, this is happening everywhere. And then other people were like, well, you know, everybody's doing it, so why call it out? But at the same time, there does need to be different rules and regulations, and the NCAA does need to do some things in order to kind of tighten the ship, in my humble opinion. Again, I'm all for the players. I always wanted them to get paid and get NIL money. But at the same time, there does need to be different things. Like, once you are signed in with a team and you sign that contract, you should be able to uphold it. Now, if you decide that you want to hit the portal, cool. But at the same time, I don't think you should be able to poach players. Like, if he was already locked in for 2 years with Duke, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that he was even able to do that, went through the arbitration, went through the different things that he had to do in order to get out of that contract deal with them, you know, I just don't think it's great for the sport, in my humble opinion. You know, that would be like somebody going, hey, we want Patrick Mahomes, or we want Josh Allen. How much is left on your contract? Okay, yeah, we're gonna pay you that. Yeah, we're gonna pay the rest of that, and you're gonna come join us. You know what I'm saying? It just, you know, and I'm not trying to compare it to the NFL, but it just don't feel right. So I think as a, NCAA as a administrative body, got to do more there. Now, on the other breath, I told y'all, I'm excited because we have a quarterback that we can win it all with, right? We have a quarterback that can do that. When you break down Darian Mensah, he threw for like 3,600 yards. Second in FBS this past year. He was tied second in touchdown throws. 34. You know what I'm saying? Bro is elite. He's my number 2 quarterback. I've already talked about it in my projection video, though, that I'll look at a little bit later and give y'all my quick thoughts on it. I did a video on it. It's up on the YouTube page. I think he's a solid number 2. You know what I'm saying? Not in terms of on our team. I'm talking about in college football, right? I'll give it to Sam Leavitt, right? Reason I do is because he's made it to a CFP. He's made a nice deep run in there. He's won a Big 12 championship, nearly knocked off Texas, right? Then he goes this past year, got hurt. Things didn't work out with Arizona State. They beat Texas Tech though. You know, they beat Texas Tech. He had his weapons there. They performed, right? So to me, Sam Lee is number 1. But Mensah is definitely the top quarterback. I think he's better than Dante Moore. As I talked about in my video, I think he's better than Julian Sand. That's just my personal preference. I got a chance to see him. You know what I'm saying? So I think the kid's elite. And in those moments, you need a quarterback to turn the ball. He don't turn the ball like that. This kid is like, I don't want to say because he's not a pocket passer, but he's one of the better throwers of the football I probably seen. You know what I'm saying? Dude is elite, just great decision maker. He knows where the ball's gonna go, can throw all day long and not miss a beat. Like this dude is him. So for us to get him, I'll tell you, I can see what I'm talking about next year. And then you bring back your entire running back room. Mark Fletcher, Gerard Pringle, who I know didn't play a lot this year, Shamar Brown. We bring back all of our weapons to go along with Malachi Tony, Cooper Barkey, tight end we brought back as well. And we got a quarterback that's not going to freeze up in those moments. The biggest thing will be defense. Can the defense play at the level they did this year? If they have to take a precipitous drop off, is it bad? Is it good? You know, is it to a level where we can't overcome it? Because you're getting a quarterback. Y'all gonna let me crazy for this. You're getting a quarterback that is similar to a Cam Ward, right? Not similar play styles, but I'm talking about can overcome different things, can raise the level of the team. It felt like this year, y'all, Beck was good, not hating on the man, but when you look at Carson Beck, it was more so the team around him was better. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to really do too much. He could run the ball, give it off to Mark Fletcher, let him do his thing. You know, the defensive line was creating that pressure. 2 NFL talents in Akeem Messenger and Ruben Bain. A really good secondary that improved a lot. It's different with this cat, though. This cat can actually win you one, right? And then some people feel like we got a soft schedule. I don't feel that way. I feel like with Notre Dame, Clemson, Florida State, you know, and then you obviously throw in VT. I think VT is going to be the surprise team, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I do. I'll talk about that more here in a second. But Darian Mensah, you got a shot in any game. That's what you have with Cam Ward. You have a shot in any game. Now, credit to Beck. Beck made some key plays, Ole Miss, and things like that. But far too often this season, it was mainly the team around him. That ain't the same case with Darian Mensah. He is him, and y'all going to see what I'm talking about here very soon. But let's get on to another topic, right? And I want to show you guys why I'm very high on this team. I just mentioned it, if you guys are paying attention to me. But there's a team out there in Blacksburg. I'm actually going to be at this game. I can't wait. Georgia Tech's going to play them this year. I'm excited to see this team in person. But VT, they're going to be good, y'all. Virginia Tech is going to be a good damn team next year. All right? And the reason I say that is they've completely revamped this roster, right? This is not the Kyron Drones show anymore. They've completely revamped the roster. And when you look at the coaching staff, they bring over former Georgia Tech's head running backs coach to serve in the same role for them. We've seen what he was able to get out of that running back room when he was there. Then you brought in Brent Pry. I don't know how in the hell you did it if you coach Franklin, but it just goes to show you the pool of what he can do and what he has, because the fact that he got fired by VT and now he's coming in as a coach and a coordinator, that is crazy to me. But I think this team aligns, and I think this team's going to be very damn good. I got them between 9 and 10 wins because they flipped. First off, they flipped the recruiting class. They had like a bottom tier. It was like in the hundreds. He flipped that to a top 25 recruiting class. Not saying all freshmen are going to play, but to flip the class like that and pretty much flip all your Penn State players, Lords. I'll tell y'all what, it's crazy. Then he had a top 4 class in the ACC when it came to the portal, right? These are some of the additions, right? We're not going to mention the long snappers and things like that, but they didn't play around in the portal, right? You went and got you a speedster, a guy that can do some damage, Keyshawn Brown. That's going to be massive for VT, right? And then quarterback, Ethan Gronkmeyer, right? Obviously, if he emerges as a starter, right? That's a good weapon to have on the outside. Pair him with a Tyser Denmark, another player that can play obviously at a high level. right? Then you look at the defensive line with the edge rushers. You got Cortez Harris, Malachi Williams. Those guys get after the passer. And one mark for Virginia Tech has been really good. They've always had a pretty good defensive line, right? Always had that. Now you add two more guys out of the portal that can help with that from Penn State. That's going to do a lot of damage for them, right? And then, like I said, Ethan Grunkmeyer is a guy I think has a lot of potential, right? Didn't get a chance to play. It was behind Drew Aller. Now he's going to get that shot to play for VT, right? Massive. Luke Reynolds is expected to be that next heir apparent from Tyler Warren. Remember the talks going into from this offseason was like, yo, he's that guy. Didn't quite pan out how we wanted it to, but now he gets to come over with Grunkmeyer, and both of them can prove themselves. That's massive, man. You know what I'm saying? So I think they did a really good job when you break down the portal, you break down the pieces they added. You know what I'm saying? They got a quarterback of the future in Bryce Baker if he can be patient enough, right? They added some really good cornerbacks, Jacquez White. You know what I'm saying? Pretty good cornerback, Cam Chadwick. Like they got players that can play. So I'm telling y'all, I'm putting my money on James Franklin and the Virginia Tech Hokies. I ain't saying they're going to win an ACC championship. I ain't saying they finna make college football playoff. But this team's going to be good, and they're going to shock a lot of people. So you sleep on them you want to. You do a little preseason poll, and oh, well, Virginia Tech, 9, 10. Okay, now, I'm telling y'all, VT going to surprise some folks. You know what I'm saying? We did it last year. We hyped up Clemson. Right? We hyped up Miami. Miami rightfully so. We hyped up Florida State. Right? We hyped up Louisville. Right? Louisville had a solid year, 4-4, 9-4, obviously in overall, right? We crapped on teams like Wake Forest, who had a really good year, went 9-4 this past year, won the Duke Mayo Bowl as well. You just never know. You just never know. And this feels like this is the team that can shock some people, that can make some noise. So I'm in on VT. This is my surprise team. You're hearing this first January 28th, 7:45 p.m. I'm high on VT. I think VT gonna make some noise next year. You know what I'm saying? Surprise some people. Similar to what we've seen with GT, right? GT last year, can you take that step forward, right? They were 7-6, 7-6, went 9-4, nearly got a 10th win, right? They was out physical and they was doing their thing as BYU. We're far from that 10th win. I think VT's gonna do the same thing. So this is my surprise team when it comes to next season. I think VT is gonna be very good. They're gonna shock some people, did a really good job in that transfer portal. I think they're gonna be a very, very good football team. So there you have it. All right, y'all. Let's keep it rolling. We got a couple more topics we want to hit. All right. So I did a video on this, so I'm not gonna go into detail. Again, go watch the video. I just did this. It's up on the channel. Broke all this down, all that nitty-gritty good stuff about how I rank it, right? So I'm not gonna go into detail. But for me, and like I said, I respect these guys. These guys have been doing it for a long time. JD Piquel is, a great analyst for On3, well-researched, man. Like I said, salute to him, respect it. Dante Moore is not my number one quarterback. Just not. No disrespect, right? I know he had a great season. I know he was a Heisman candidate. I know he threw for, nearly 30-plus touchdowns. I get it. And I know he didn't play for the team last year. It has nothing to do with him. He's not my number one. Okay? And I like Julian Sand. I think Julian Sand is very accurate, right? And I just think that, I don't know, that game against Miami left a little sour taste in my mouth, a little stain for me, right? I still think he's a top 5 quarterback. I just don't think he's number 2, right? Now, for me, I like Sam leaving. I'll put him at number 1, as I just talked about a little bit earlier. I think with LSU, Chase Brown, some of the pieces they were able to get, they brought back Caden Durham, right? Trey Green at the tight end position, right? Defense should be marketably improved. Got some guys in the portal like Fahim Delane. They should be a pretty good football team. They've been missing a quarterback. And I told y'all looked at me crazy last year when I told y'all about Garrett Nussmeier. I said I didn't think he was that good. I said, nah, she threw for 30-plus touchdowns, and bro had like 12-plus interceptions, right? But I think LSU legit has a quarterback now. I think they have a guy that can deliver and has played in big games enough. Now, you might only be able to get the 1-year rental out of him, but I think he's a guy that a lot of people need to pay more attention to. I think it's too low. I think Darian Mensah, who J.D. Piquel has said has a little bit of Steph Curry in him. I think 7 is too low. Too low. I know they lost 5 games. I understand. But they won an ACC championship, right? Second leading passer in FBS, tied second in touchdowns. I almost want to put Mensa one, but I'm gonna give my respect to Sam, leave it until further notice. But I think those are your two guys that you hang your hat on next season. Now, I could be wrong about Moore. I don't think he's trash. I think he's a good quarterback. But can we see him take that next step in his career? And obviously, shout out to him because he could have easily left and win and been the number 2 overall pick, but decided to come back and improve and work on his craft. Maybe we'll see something different next year. And my number 3, as I said in my video, and I'm gonna leave it at this. You guys go watch the rest of the video. Arch Manning. You finally give Arch a true number 1 receiver, along with a Ryan Wingo. Whatever. Damn good running game that you should have. If your offensive line improves, you bring back Gooseby, and then you have Raleek Brown and Hollywood Smothers. Lord have mercy. Arch should be dynamite next year, in my humble opinion. Dynamite. All right. He showed it against Michigan. Everybody's sleeping over that bowl game. I know everybody didn't play. Bro threw for over 350 yards. Okay? You're getting him a true number 1. Like, people forget how good Cam Coleman is. Why that is the case, I don't know. Cam Coleman is elite, y'all. Like, freshman year, we were mentioning him, Jeremiah Smith, and Ryan Wood. Those was the big 3. And it's like he's legit never had a quarterback. No disrespect. Like, it's been a revolving door when he was at Auburn. Revolving. Ashton Daniels. Deuce Knight. Jackson Arnold. Revolving door. He is a guy now. Right? And I think Arch needed last season. I think he needed to struggle and go through the things he needed to go through. And I think now you're going to see him be dynamite. I don't think he cares anymore. I don't think he cares about the perception and what this media member says. I don't think he gives a damn. And that's dangerous. It's dangerous. So, yeah, I think Arch is 3. I think Arch will put them in a position to contend. And that's what they're going to do. They didn't play around in that portal. Did not play around in that portal. They did not. So, yeah, I think Arch is my number 3. That's how I would rank it. But again, I ain't gonna dwell on this. Y'all go watch my video, my recent video. Check out everything I had to say about this. But I just wanted to show y'all, talk just a little bit about this. All right. Let's keep it rolling. Now, we're moving on to schedules. Okay. Now, some people said they think it's so funny. People are hilarious. They feel like Indiana. I think they said Penn State. They feel like they have cupcake schedules. So let's pull up Indiana football and let's look at their schedules because schedules came out. We obviously talked about Georgia Tech's schedule. I think it's very tough. 11 Power 4 opponents. You know what I'm saying? Next year, probably the most of anybody. But some people felt like Indiana's schedule is weak next year. So let's pull it up. This is it right here. Let's see. Here we go. Now, I want y'all to bear in mind, right? These teams play 9 games in conference, right? So it ain't the same. It ain't and it's not like the committee's rewarding you, if you lose to Indiana, you lose the early game season to a Georgia. This is just a hypothetical. Or you lose an early season game to I won't say Oregon State Conference. You lose an early season game to a Texas Tech. They're not really rewarding you for that, unfortunately, right? So I understand, like North Texas, Howard, Western Kentucky, it looks like cupcake. Okay, I get it. I understand. However, I know North Texas lost damn near everybody, right? They were a 10+1 team last year. They did make the American Championship last year. Will be a vastly different team. They will be. But I can't blame them, especially when you get into to play. Now, why I say their schedule is not weak. The first 3 games, okay, sure, whatever. When you look at the back end of their schedule, that final or what was that? 4 of the last 6 is rough. They got Ohio State and Michigan in back-to-back weeks. You know what I'm saying? Ohio State at home and at Michigan. Right? That's not easy, y'all. Y'all say what you want, but that's the upper echelon of the Big Ten, right? Religiously, right? Indiana's obviously gotten in that fold now too, but that is not an easy schedule, right? Then you play USC. USC, they out. Some people may feel like they underachieved. I thought they had a solid season. I thought they did. So 3 of your 4 is probably against some of the best teams in the conference in a 6-game stretch. That ain't easy, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Now, Northwestern, okay. Rutgers, Nebraska should be interesting. They got a new quarterback at the helm. No more Dylan Raiola. Obviously, when I got Anthony Calandria, you know what I'm saying, he should be the starter for them. We'll see. Quite the jury's still out on Nebraska, but that's a tough 4 game stretch, man. Tough 4 game stretch. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Obviously, they've invested money. They got Nick Marsh. You know what I'm saying? They brought in, obviously quarterback. Josh Hoover from TCU who balled out and say what you want about Kirk Cincinnati. He's hit on his last couple quarterbacks. Curtis Roke, Fernando Mendoza. We'll see if he hits on Josh Hoover, right? But I wouldn't say it's cupcake. The first 3 games, okay. I see what y'all saying, but that little 4 game stretch is tough, y'all. The good thing is 3 of the 4 is at home, right? 3 of the 4 is gonna be in Bloomington, but I say I give it like a B minus B. You know what I'm saying? But that's a tough 4 game stretch, even though most of them at home. Tough game stretch. All right. Now, another one is college football alerts. Obviously, love their channel. They said they feel like this is a cupcake schedule. Now, let's look at Penn State. Now, I know Penn State, new regime, new looking team. Rocco Beck's going to be the starter. They brought in a lot of players from Iowa State, the running back, receiver, obviously with Matt Campbell. So it's going to be interesting to see what this team does. But this is their schedule for next season. Marshall, Temple, Buffalo, Wisconsin, Northwestern, USC, Michigan, off Purdue, Washington, Minnesota. Yeah, this is a cupcake schedule. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with college football alerts. They should definitely be at 10+ wins next year for sure. No excuse for Penn State. I'm with them on that one. I would have to oblige. I have to agree there, right? Marshall, obviously a group of 5. Temple, haven't been good in years. Buffalo, Wisconsin, obviously had a down year this past year. Northwestern, they did win 6 games and made a bowl game, but Northwestern is Northwestern. USC will be a tough game for sure. Michigan will be a tough game for sure. So those 2 in October will be tough. Then you get a bye week. Purdue hasn't been good in years. At Washington, we'll see how that team shapes out. You know what I'm saying, next season. Minnesota, Rutgers, and Maryland. Yeah, that's a pretty favorable schedule, I would say. So yeah, that is kind of a cupcake schedule in my opinion. I would have to I have to agree. I have to agree with college footballers. That is a pretty cupcake schedule. Pretty cupcake schedule. All right. Let's see. It was 2 more I wanted to look at for our schedules. I wanted to look at what Oregon has going. Let's see. I'm gonna share this tab with y'all. Is it showing? Okay, here we go. I don't know why I wasn't showing. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is Oregon, right? So they're gonna play Boise State. Now, Boise State usually is a pretty good group of 5 team, right? We've seen a few years ago they made the college football playoff, lost obviously to Penn State. So we'll see. That's a pretty good opening game for them. Oklahoma State, that's gonna be a lot of intrigue, y'all. Oklahoma State and Oregon. I'm not gonna lie, that's something that's a game you probably want to check out. Now I don't know how good Oklahoma State is gonna be. They brought over their head coach Eric Morris, Drew Mestemaker, Wyatt Young, Caleb Hawkins. Like, we'll see how good they can be. But a new regime, right? They no longer have Mike Gundy. So new regime starting at Oklahoma State, Cowboy Land. That should be an interesting game, right? The atmosphere will probably be pretty electric. Not saying Oklahoma State's going to win, but hey, that's an intriguing game. I wouldn't say that's a cupcake. I know they didn't have a good year last year, but that's going to be a very intriguing game. Okay, so they play them. Portland State at USC. That's going to be a game must see TV on September 26th. Obviously, them playing the Trojans. They have a bye. UCLA, Nebraska at Illinois will be tough. I know they will have a new team. Obviously going into next year. Northwestern at Ohio State. Michigan State, Washington. Yeah, so for me, the toughest games will obviously be at USC, right? Traveling out to Southern California will be tough. Then I would say this little stretch right here, Ohio State, Michigan, at Ohio State. That's going to be one probably everybody's going to tune into, probably one of the best games of the year. Probably going to be a big noon kickoff, unfortunately. Probably be a big noon kickoff if we had to bet our money on it. Then Michigan. So November 7th, November 14th, and I would honestly say September 26th. But the intrigue of the schedule early is also very interesting. So cannot sleep on that, to say the least. So interesting schedule from Oregon. Wouldn't say it's cupcake, but definitely obviously some wiggle room in there. All right, let's see if we can find Michigan. Look at their schedule real quick. Okay, so they got Western Michigan. Ooh, Oklahoma. They did play them last year at Norman. So yeah, they got obviously a home and a home series. So that one will be in Ann Arbor. That would be a very intriguing one. Obviously, John Mateer is returning back. They made the college football playoff last year. The Sooners did. Had a 17-0 lead. Cannot believe they lost. Crazy to Alabama. How did they respond? How do you respond as a team after losing a game you shouldn't have lost? Be very interesting. That Oklahoma game will be really good, right? Really good non-conference game for them. Then they start off with Iowa. Always have a good defense. Feels like the offense is finally matching the defense now. Then you have at Minnesota by Penn State, right at home. Then you play Indiana. That'll be a tough game. Interesting 2-game stretch right here. At Rutgers, Michigan State, at Oregon. That'll be another game. UCLA at Ohio State. So that's 3-game stretch here is kind of real interesting for them, right? At Oregon, at Ohio State, 2 of your last 3 is on the road. Definitely won't be easy to say the least, and you're playing some of the best teams in the conference. So interesting 3-game stretch for them. All right, let me see before I close this out if I wanted to look at anybody else's. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Yeah, we'll look at Ohio State. Can't forget about them. All right, so we know last year the big game to open up the season was Texas and Ohio State. Obviously, that was a very defensive game, 21-14 victory for Ohio State. Excuse me. This year, they're going to go to Texas. I love it. They're going to Austin. That'll be an intriguing game as well. Really good test to see how good both of those are. Again, expect that to be a hyped up game. Wouldn't be surprised that was on SEC because it's Texas at Texas. You know what I'm saying? Nonetheless, but that'll be a pretty stoked up game in my opinion. So that one obviously will be good. Kind of cupcake games against Ball State and Kent State. So, Illinois at home at Iowa will be intriguing. You know, Maryland should handle business at Indiana's one I would circle. Probably going to look to get their revenge, but got to go on the road to Bloomington to do so. Bye week, then at USC. That'll be another intriguing game with those two teams to see who was able to come out on top. Then they play Oregon. So, yeah, that 3-game stretch is tough for Ohio State. Indiana, USC, Oregon will not be easy. Northwestern, Nebraska, and then conclude with obviously the best game, best rivalry, Michigan. Yeah, interesting schedule. Interesting schedule, to say the least, right? Yeah, interesting schedule. But, yeah, that 3-game little stretch right there will tell us a lot about, obviously, Ohio State, Indiana, USC, Oregon. It's going to tell us a whole lot about how good they are, to say the least. All right. All right, y'all. A couple more things before we wrap up the show for the day. Let's go ahead and go to early All-American list. Put on about 1-3. I want to take a quick peek at that. All right. Let's look at this, y'all. All right. So early list is who they have in terms of people coming back. Trinidad Chandler's, I'm not really mad at that. I know he's in that process right now currently with the courts, trying to get that extra year of eligibility. Did land Deuce Knight out of the portal. I do think Ole Miss should be a pretty good team when it comes to next year with all the pieces that they were able to land and bring back. Ahmad Hardy, Q1 Lacey, I can't disagree with that list either. I think there are some of the best backs returning. Can't sleep on Mark Fletcher, though. Y'all know I love him. Go you. You know what I'm saying? Go you. Jeremiah Smith, Malachi Toney. I can understand that at wide receiver as an All-American. Makes a lot of sense. Don't sleep on Kevin Coleman is a name I would say right there with Arch. And then you got Trey'Dez Green. He's probably one of the better tight ends in the country. You look at the athleticism, 6'6", 6'7", I think he is. The catch radius, everything that he can do, he's really good. Carter Smith could have easily went to the NFL, decided to return back. He's one of the best offensive linemen returning. So he's really good. You got Evan Tinglesdahl, another one that's pretty impressive. Cade Piper, center for Iowa, also very good. Sandry Hurst from Houston, and then Trevor Gooseby was a big one for Texas, right? He should be able to help them out tremendously. Offensive line that wasn't the best this past year, protecting the quarterback, helping set up the run. It should be way better in 2025. So solid offensive line list, I would say for sure. There you got Wayne Knight, all-purpose player, Lucas Carnero, He's from Ole Miss. He is pretty good. Had a pretty good season this past year. Hit some big kicks for them. Don't sleep on Aiden Burr is a name I would throw out there. John Henry Daly came over from Utah. That's a big get for Michigan. That makes sense. Only one I would say is I don't get it at the edge. I like Colin Simmons. Colin Simmons is good. I don't know how y'all don't put on Damon Wilson. You know what I'm saying? Damon Wilson of Missouri. Dude's good, man. You know what I'm saying? I won't put him over Colin Simmons, but I think Colin Simmons and him, that's the name I would probably throw out there. Tyreek Tucker's really good at stuff in the interior, run stopper, good in the pass rush, along with Amari Washington. Elijah Hardy's probably one of the better linebackers you could find. Ken Robinson's another one I want to put y'all on with from Virginia. He's really good. I think an excellent linebacker. Could do a lot of different things, but can't be mad at obviously Elijah Hardy and Rasheem Biles. We know what he just did with Pittsburgh. That's going to help out the Longhorns tremendously, NFL caliber talent. So can't hate too much on that one. But if I had to say, I'd throw Ken Robinson in there as well. Xavier Atkins at linebacker. Then they got Leonard Moore, Kelly Jones at CB. Only one y'all missing Bryce Pollock. I don't know why y'all didn't put Bryce Pollock on there from I think he's Texas. No, Mississippi State. He should have been on there, in my opinion. I do like KJ Bolden and Cole Perch, two really good players as well. Evan Crenshaw, punter, solid, and Ryan Niblett. Okay. All right. Well, that is that list, as y'all can see right there, man. So yeah, y'all. That is obviously today's show. Hope you guys enjoy. We're not gonna make it too much, man, as we get more fans and more people tuning into the show. I appreciate the 36 that was tuned in. Most of them on X. Shout out to y'all. I try to do it at least every Wednesday night, ideally. If I don't got nothing going on or anything as far as like college basketball, because I cover Georgia Tech, so and also Virginia. So I'm gonna try to make sure I do it. If not, like I said, worst case, y'all. If I'm not live on the day, I'm going to try my best to record earlier in the day and then obviously just air it at the time I usually do the show. Today was like 7:30, so try to probably do around 7:30. But like I said, if I can't do it live, I have to be somewhere, or if I have to cover a game, I will air it and premiere it obviously on my platform. But y'all know what to do, man. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on all my social media platforms and networks at Najee Work on all platforms: TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, X. I will see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Let me know any other topics you guys want to see in the future. Until next time, enjoy the rest of y'all night, man, and happy Wednesday.